All right, guys, welcome back to H2H, the NFL show that me and Tasos do. We battle it out each and every week. Tasos hasn't been a battle this season. You're kicking my ass. But nonetheless, the way it's designed is a battle it out show. We go head to head every single week, giving our 4 best plays in the NFL. And may the best man come out on top. Tasos, another sweep for you last week. We just talked about it before we hit the big red record button. You are on a 13-3 run on the show. You've swept 3 of the last 4 weeks. How do I compete?
It feels good to be a gangster. What can I say? It feels good to be a gangster. I don't know what to say. Like, it's just every time. And like this past week, I'll be honest, I know I was cocky on the show, but after we finished recording, I went back like, ooh, you know what? I don't know. Some of my picks are just not like that Packers money line pick, my Colts pick. I was like, I don't know. But everything just keeps falling into place. I've been seeing the board crystal clear. What can I say? The funniest part though is my 2 biggest wins. Technically, I got to give you credit. Like 2 of my last 2 fade me's, you gave me the Packers both times. And like that's like plus 5 units.
That's just ridiculous. It is ridiculous that the Packers have now burned me twice on fade me picks.
I have the clip saved from last week, and I think I'm going to post it after we finish recording, actually.
Oh, no.
Where I literally tell you in the thing, like I'm going to put the Curb Your Enthusiasm music in it. Like, you were like, there's no way. It can't happen again, right? And right as you say that, it's going to snap, and I'm going to start playing the Curb Your Enthusiasm music, and it's perfect. It's a great video. I'm going to put it on TikTok
if
after
you guys
if
you guys don't know what the fade me round is, the last round here on the show, one person decides the pick for the other person. They pretty much have to fade the pick. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, essentially here we spin a wheel, figure out what types of bets that we do. We go round by round, a snake draft. And like I said, it's a head-to-head show designed for Tasos and I to battle it out. But Tasos has literally been bending me over a barrel and showing me the 50 states in this 2023 season. But there's still time. We're doing it through the postseason. I got to get hot, though, Tasos. I hope that you, cool down just a little bit here. But it is what it is. I can't compete with a guy sweeping 3 out of the last 4 weeks. I gotta give you your flowers, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think you said it last week. Like, there's really not much you can do. Like, even if you go 3-1, which is a great week by any standard, it's still not enough. Like, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do.
It is tough.
I'm the hottest man on the planet right now. Probably not, but like I feel like I'm the hottest man on the planet right now. But you know what that means, Ev? Anytime you're hot, you know that the cool off's got to come at some point. Everything that goes up's got to come down. At some point, it's got to come down. So the question
I don't know,
for
though.
you
You've been defying that. You've been hot for a month. You've been hot for a month. You're kind of defying that. Well,
I had the 1 week where I went 1-3, where like I had like it was 2 weeks ago.
Wow. Yeah.
But and even those that 1-3 league, I think every pick I lost by like 1 point. Like I had like the over on a pick, it was missed by a point. Like the spread missed by half a point. Like it's just I was close on all those picks too. So what can I say?
All right. Well, we'll see how I fare in this week. You guys are going to see a wheel pop up on your screen in just a second. That's going to determine the draft order, and then we'll dive into a second wheel spin for the type of bet that we are rolling with. Shout out to Spencer that was on the show last week, our first guest. He did go 3-1 in his picks. Again, I handed him the fade me pick, so it's like, what are we doing here? I fade me was such a lock for the beginning of the year, Tasos, and then all of a sudden it's like just burning me. It's tough.
How do you feel, real quick? How do you feel that, like, on this show, you went 3rd place last week? Even with the guest came on, the guest kicked your ass, too.
Would that fade me and my double down loss? Like, it was bound to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I put my cards on the table, and I was playing a different game, clearly. Because the dealer was like, these cards are no good here. So, I mean, it stinks, but it kind of makes a lot of sense.
And the funny thing is that you only did, we talked about it after the show, you only did that Eagles double down because I did the Cowboys double down, and you kind of got I want to say bullied, but you got bullied into it again.
Well, I bullied you into your Cowboys double down, so I gave you so many units last week. I'm like John Stockton out here. Okay, I can dish some assists. So
I was gonna say,
at least I have
you
that
are the
positive.
Stockton to my Malone the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks you've been my John Stockton, so I appreciate that.
Kind of like that role. That's a really great glass half full way of looking at it. But all right, let's jump in and spin the wheel. Whoever this lands on is drafting first, and then it is a snake draft. Let's see what we got. Tasos, it's probably going to land on you. All right.
The gambling gods are giving you a break here.
All right, it's heading to your boy. Let's see what we got for our round here. Now we're going to spin and see what round number 1 is going to consist of. I have no wishes. You say the world's your oyster all the time. The world is like my sand pit. I don't even know what I like anyway. What is that?
Board's not great.
An over. Okay.
Board's
Okay,
not
an
great.
over. Yeah, I don't, right off the rip, I don't love this, but round 1 is going to be an over here. This is kind of tough because, again, I'm not totally loving it. I am going to take my first pick of overs, and I really only have a short list of them, Tasos, so hopefully we don't get too many today. But I am going to be looking at a team that I'm trusting to go over 40.5 here. I guess 2 teams to go over 40.5. Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Do I love it? No, but I am in like with this pick. I think that this is going to be a game of a Raiders defense that just isn't really selling me on anything, and I think that Minnesota is kind of due for a big week. They had a terrible week against Chicago last week when they scored 10 points. I think that they're due for a bounce-back week. This Minnesota defense, we've seen 20 points against Miami. Not great, but then Kansas City dropped 31 on them. I think this is a good week for Minnesota, and if Las Vegas can just give me... Let's see. If Las Vegas can just give me upwards of 17 points, I like over 40.5 here.
Bad pick. No, I'm just.
Oh boy,
this is just not. I wish I could have advised you I wish you would have told me this pre-show you were going here, because I would have told you, Ev, pump the brakes. Don't take this out of kindness. But you went for it, so it's a decision you made. So you got to stick by it. But this pick sucks. I'm not gonna lie. This is a bad one.
Why is that?
So listen. Well, by the way, apologies, guys, if I stop a little bit. I have been sick for like 2 weeks, so my voice kind of cuts in and out. The Raiders' offense is one of the worst in the league. They have scored 20 or more points just twice all season. Aiden O'Connell, not very good. The Vikings' defense is solid, so I don't see the Raiders scoring more than 14 points. I think 17 points is a miracle if you get that from the Raiders.
14
here.
Would be, I'm saying upwards of 17, it's like a lock. I'm looking for the Vikings to carry this.
But
let me make that at least clear.
The thing is, though, Josh Dobbs against the Bears, and granted, and the Bears' defense is not that good. Like, their front 4 is solid. Their defense is not that great. He threw 4 interceptions. 4. Right. Cuatro in Spanish. Like, it's bad. Like, Josh Dobbs, and listen, great story. He got off to a really hot start with them. It was nice to see. And Justin Jefferson's back, so that does help. But the Raiders' defense, give them a little bit of credit. They're actually not as bad as people say. Their run defense has actually been one of the better run defenses in the NFL of late. And they make plays. Max Crosby, one of the best edge rushers in the league. This defense puts pressure on him. I could see this being a low-scoring affair. I could see this being an ugly, like, 2014 Vikings win.
So that's only a touchdown away from the number.
It is, but it's still a touchdown away.
One errant touchdown.
Still a touchdown away.
It is. I like it. I think we see 42. I mean, you're not bullying me into double downing on this, all right? So let's get that out the window. But I think 42 plus in this spot.
If you double down here,
I'm a
you
psycho.
should put it in the insane asylum. If you double down on this pick. On a Raiders Vikings over, you should be put in a home. If you
I honestly, I was considering Minnesota team total too, but listen to some of these. So I want them to probably score 25 or so points, right? Over 24.5 is plus 170. It just seems like Vegas doesn't think that's happening whatsoever. So at least taking the over in the game gives me the chance that there is, by some chance, Raiders go out there and do their half, right? Because I don't want to have to rely on just Minnesota. That's what I think is going to happen. But that plus 170 kind of scared me. I expected it to be like plus 110. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, even the books think that Minnesota's going to score a bunch of points. I need 2 teams to hit this over now.
Yeah, I mean, in their last 5 games, and 3 of their last 5, Minnesota's scored under 25 points. Mm-hmm. And in their last 2, they scored 20 or less. And that was against Denver and Chicago. Right. Who, again, I think you'd agree, both defenses are not like the worst, but they're not good either. And they didn't score much.
I'd say better than Vegas, though. I'd say better than I like the spot for Minnesota. So it's not my official pick. I can't go back and change it, but I do think the Minnesota Vikings carry this. But I think they're going to need a little help from the Raiders.
In 3 of the Raiders' last 5 games, they've held opponents to 20 or less. That includes Miami.
Look at the teams. It's crazy too.
They held Miami.
It's crazy too because they went from playing dog crap teams to 2 good offensive teams. So I mean, that is a fair point.
Yeah, like they actually have done a pretty good job. Like even like Detroit, I know 26 is technically a lot of points, but like if you, to me in the modern NFL, if you can hold a team under 30 points, not a bad day. You know what I mean? Like, obviously 27 points isn't a good performance. But, like, if you can hold, especially like the Dolphins or they play Detroit, like those teams, you can hold them to under 30. I consider that a win, truthfully. And they did that. I mean, they held Detroit to 26. They kept it kind of close. Miami game, they could have won that Dolphins game. And then that Dolphins offense has been electric. So, I don't know.
I don't think I'm gonna get sold on the Raiders defense. Max Crosby may be the only name you could throw out there. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a very good defense. I think the Vikings are due. So we'll see.
Listen, that's why one of us is 9-4 and one of us is 4-9. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
It's fair enough.
For my over/under here, I'm gonna go with the over. I don't want to make your mistake where it's an over and you. Is it a total or an over?
Over.
Okay, just wanted to double check because I know you have had a habit. We both have had a habit of doing that this year. I'm gonna go with these Seahawks Niners over 46.5. These are two teams that are surprisingly hitting overs at a high rate. That Seahawks Cowboys game last week, which one of my winnings last week, not to brag, one of the better games of the season. Like, that was a high scoring, like high flying affair. The Niners obviously just dropped, how much was it? 45 on the Eagles. These are two teams that can score. And I think the Niners will carry much of the load here. But these NFC South games, man, they get crazy. I think Seattle will be able to hang around a little bit, and that could drive the point total over. I like the spot here. I got to be honest. I like the spot here for this over. I know 46.5 a little high. When they met earlier in November, it finished 31-13. So this over didn't hit the last time, but it just missed.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and it just missed. I think Seattle will be a little bit better with they need to win here. The Seattle, they're kind of falling apart.
Right.
They need to win. I think they're going to play a little bit harder. The last time they played last year, I know we're on the last year, but 41-23. These games typically teams tend to be higher scoring. So I like the spot. I got to be honest.
I'm not going to say I hate it like you said right off the bat with mine, but what I will say is you are just looking at a great defense on one side of things, right? Like, yes, the 49ers can score a lot of points, but I do think that their defense at least equals that out or cancels that out for taking overs for them. Two teams here that they haven't really neither one of them has hit that in the majority of their games in their last few, right? What you saw from Seattle, though, was like what would you say, maybe 5 weeks ago, Seattle offense that kind of looked like they were put together. Geno Smith looked good. I don't know if it was prime time. I don't know if it was because damn does that Cowboys team have some greedy ass secondary players, huh? It is crazy the gambles they take. And if Diggs was in there, like, it'd be even crazier. Like, it is. They gamble like you read about. So I think that San Francisco's a little bit more disciplined and the field gets shrunk a little bit. So I'm not going to say I hate it because I think that, San Francisco can account for 30 plus points at any given moment, meaning that, Seahawks just kind of have to do something. But I don't know. I can't really confidently take an over with San Fran's defense, but you can with their offense. So I'll give you like a 53% of me likes that pick, but there's kind of like the devil on my shoulder being like, a little risky, but I can't tear it down like you did mine because I do like the spot. That defense is real. That defense is real. It
is. And honestly, what I'm hoping for, truthfully, is for Seattle to score just about the same what they did the first time they played on Thanksgiving. They scored 13 points. If they can get to like 17, then all we need from San Fran is 30 points. And I think the Niners scoring 30 on this Seahawks defense is not a problem. Like, the Cowboys were scoring at ease. I think San Fran will score 30 here. That's not a question. I think Seattle needs to score at least 14 minimum, probably 17 to get that total. I think Seattle should be able to get to 17. I think the Seahawks will keep this game kind of close.
All right. I mean, you can't really say much negative about how they played against Dallas. Like, they definitely could have won that game too. You know what I mean? That was was that their highest? No, they scored a bunch against a bad team earlier, but that was one of their highest offensive outputs of the week. Can they do it 2 games in a row? We shall see. But all right, let's go ahead and move on to round number 2. We'll pop the wheel up. Tasos, anything that you're liking in particular here, because you are leading us off here in round number 2.
Not in particular. Not in particular. There are some interesting underdog money lines for this week, but nothing in particular, I'd say.
All right, let's see what we got. Slowing down. Don't do it to us again. I told you I didn't have a bunch of these.
Another over. Great. I love that. In a week that I don't. All right.
I got to stop speaking things into existence. Every time I'm like, I hope we don't get another one of these. Boom.
You do. You know what? Your hit rate on those, you should start doing that for every pick. So like, I really hope I don't hit this bet. I really hope I lose here.
Like, well, let's say I hope there's 14 points scored in the Vikings and the Raiders game. I hope they don't score a bunch of points. I really hope they don't.
God forbid. That's what God forbid they score a lot of points.
Yep.
There's one more over that I like here. Excuse me. I'm gonna go for it. I'm going Colts Bengals. Give me the over 40 points. Battle the backup quarterbacks, Gardner Minshew, Jake Browning. That Colts game against the Titans last week, I had a lot of money on the Colts. I bet them obviously here on the show. I bet them in real life. Was a sweat and a half going to overtime, but Gardner Minshew delivered. High-scoring game. I kind of expect the same here, especially that Jaguars-Bengals game. Kind of the same vibe. Like Jake Browning did his best Joe Burrow impersonation. I could see 40 points seems a little low to me, considering the games these teams are coming off of. I mean, both defenses are solid. I wouldn't call it either a great defense.
They got gaps, yeah.
And I think the thing with the Colts is like the Bengals secondary seems to be kind of their weakness this year, and with the way Gardner Minshew's playing, that's kind of a plus. And on the flip side, I think the Colts is kind of the same, right? Like their secondary is not really their strength, and the Bengals have been throwing the ball well. So I think this could be another shootout here. I see if Gardner Minshew and Jake Browning play even like 75% or 60% as good as they did last week, this over shouldn't be a problem. 40 points, like I said, just kind of seems a little low to me, but I'm going to go with that, over 40 points.
Yeah, I like it. I almost hope for your sake that it's not like a smoke and mirrors type of situation, for the Browning. Like, is he actually that good? Because we've pretty much seen more bad than good, obviously, from him,
for
right?
Sure,
but
yeah.
he looked pretty damn good. Like, I can't knock that whatsoever. So I don't necessarily hate it. I will say those are wild cards, right? Like Minshew and Browning are wild cards, but wild cards, strike every once in a while. So I don't mind that. And you got that minus 110, was it?
Minus 110, yeah.
All right. I don't hate that much. I think that it's a good spot. What I'm going towards is going to be a team total. Now you're probably like, oh, you're going to double down on Minnesota here. I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. This was number 2 on my list. I'm going to the Ravens and the Rams game here, looking at a team total over 23.5 from minus 115 for the Baltimore Ravens. This isn't a Rams defense that, I would hold any sort of, any candle to, right? Like this is a defense that's been playing well, I guess you could say, but just as arguably you could say that the offenses that have been playing against them really have not been stepping up. When we've seen good offenses play against them, you're looking at, almost like a floor of 21-ish points. So I'll take the Ravens here, a team that, has had obviously huge scoring games. I think they've hit 30 points in like 4 games this season, maybe more. They went on that crazy stretch. But yeah, give me them scoring, what did I say, over 23.5 for minus 115.
I don't hate it. I can't say that I hate it. I can't say I hate it.
God forbid they score a bunch of points. I got to get that in there, right? Like it'd be a shame if they go and score a bunch of points, because I don't want them to score a bunch of points, right? I'd hate it if the Ravens dropped 30 on the Rams. I would just hate it.
There you go.
Hate it.
So the funny thing is that typically I wouldn't like this spot because Baltimore's offense is so wishy-washy. However, this Rams defense is not that good. I don't think it's that good. I think it's average at best. I think Baltimore, they only scored 20 against the Chargers. I think they had their bye week. Coming off the bye week, I think they're going to have some things figured out, have some extra, stuff written up for this game. I think 23.5?
Yep.
I think that's an easy hit. I think it's an easy hit. And again, I don't like this Ravens offense particularly. Like I think it's very hit or miss. It's not always pretty, but they get the job done. And I think especially in this matchup with the Rams, I do like the spot here. So I got to give you kudos when you deserve it. Not a bad pick. I like the pick.
I appreciate that. It kind of feels different though hearing that come out of your mouth, but hey, I'll take it where I can. Wow, quick round, Tasos. When we agree, we can make this show like a TikTok. We don't even have to take the 30 minutes to 40 minutes. We fly through this when we agree on each other's picks. But all right, let's go. Round number 3, and I got this right. I'm leading it off here. Yet to mess up an order. We're firing on all cylinders in today's show. But all right, let's see what we got. Just don't give me a total. Honestly, at this point, anything but a total because
At this point, give us another over.
Running thin.
Let's get another one. Let's just keep going for over.
You're right. I got to stick to it. Is that going to land on plus money? Okay, spread.
Oh.
Uh-oh, that wasn't confident.
I was kind of ready for plus money play. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, all right. Well,
I was
always a
ready
fade me
for
round
it.
if that lands on you. Always a fade me round.
There is,
all right,
there
spread
is.
pick here. This is an interesting week for spreads. We talked about it before we started recording. We were like, this is a very weird sort of spread week overall. And I have a team that I want to look at here. And they did me dirty last week, but I think I'm going to lean towards them here and roll with it because I like this number. Oh, I might be crazy for doing it, but I'm backing the Philadelphia Eagles again, plus 3.5. Outside of a field goal number there, plus 3.5, and obviously a big time implication game, I guess, especially for the Cowboys too, right? I like them to win this one. I think that, these are the types of games, you've said it all along too, that the Cowboys don't seem to win. Like, they beat up the bad teams, and they don't really do that well against the good teams. I think the Eagles obviously kind of had their pants pulled down against San Francisco this past week, but who hasn't had themselves pantsed by San Francisco, right? Arguably that 42-19 loss was better than the loss that the Giants suffered at San Francisco. I think the Eagles are the better team. We saw that earlier in the season as well, and you're getting points here. I get it. They're on the road, but they're a good road team, just as good as Dallas is at home, which is kind of crazy. And I'm getting over a field goal of points here. I don't know if the Eagles win this game. I quite frankly don't care, but I'll take plus 3.5.
I have been so on this all season long, but you know what? Call me a sucker. I actually think the Cowboys are going to win this game. I think the Eagles have some issues. I think they're kind of limping. The thing with Philadelphia to remember too is they also haven't had their bye week yet, so like they're limping. Like they are just trying to get to that bye week, and this is their last game before that. I think they probably going to lose here and then kind of limp into then they, after this, they have a pretty easy finish to the year. The only reason I would take the Eagles here and why I like your pick is because of that number, 3.5. Like that is the worst number in sports to bet on the opposite side. Like Dallas minus 3.5 is an ugly bet. I would rather not bet this game than take Cowboys minus 3.5. It just, this game's gonna be close.
If it was Eagles minus 3.5, I wouldn't be looking at it. So it's not really I'm expecting the Eagles to go in there and sucker punch the Cowboys. I think this is gonna be a divisional close ass game, and I'll take that 3.5 all day long. If it was flipped, I might have taken. You know what I mean? I probably would have taken Dallas because I think that these types of games work themselves out in a very close sort of format here, one score type games.
Well, and here's the thing: like if it was Dallas minus 2.5, which is if you bet on it early enough, like if you literally waited for the minute the Cowboy game ended. And you got it, or the minute the Eagle game ended against San Francisco, you probably could have gotten Dallas at 2.5. I would probably take Dallas 2.5. I will not take them at 3.5. I think this game is a field goal game, and 3.5 in a field goal game, Eagles cover. So in any scenario, so I like the spot here. If that number goes back up to 3 or 2.5, I wouldn't touch this. But 3.5 points is that sweet spot, or if it goes even lower, if it goes to 4 points, like they just played, and what was it, 28-23 Philadelphia? It's a 5-point game.
Yep.
And I think Dallas is in a
Close
better
one,
spot now, so it's going to be even tighter. Yeah, I that's 2 picks in a row. I can't really knock you. I like
that. Yeah, and what I will say about the Eagles is, like, as good as they are, right, 10-2 on the year, they still play, like, with a chip on their shoulder. And it's so funny because they were so good last year, obviously, right? And now this year, like, from the get, people were saying that they weren't good or their defense is trash and blah, blah, blah. Like, as much as, they're sitting ahead of Cowboys right now, this is a huge game. Like, they're not going to go into this lightly whatsoever, So I just think that is like a calls for a close game. Again, Dallas could win this game, by 1 point or 31 to 30 or anything. I don't care. Eagles in a close one though.
Yeah, like I said, I can't knock that pick. The Eagles, I will say, as good as their record is, they have been a weird team this year. Like, every game for them has just been a sweat. Like, nothing has really come easy for the Eagles all year long. And that's why, again, I like the pick because they don't blow teams out. Every game is a tight, down-to-the-wire battle. Even when they play a team like both the Washington games they played were like...
Yeah, true.
I thought they were going to lose both of them. And they ended up, they come back and win. But, like, even against teams that are significantly less talented than they are, they just find a way to keep it close. So I think betting on this to be a close game, not a bad pick. And I do think off the loss, they will be motivated to try and come in here. And obviously, if they win this game, I think the 1 seed is basically theirs, right? I mean, if they win, they're 11-2. tiebreaker over the Cowboys. They basically, the NFC East is theirs. They're guaranteed a top 2 spot if they win this game, so they can kind of coast. So I do think there's some extra motivation to kind of close it out, beat the Cowboys, and then, they got 2 of their last 3 games are against the Giants. So like, I don't think the Eagles are too scared of Tommy DeVito.
No, I don't think so. But all right, who you got for the spread here?
I want to punch myself for taking this because it's so stupid. It's so stupid, but I have to. Give me the Browns -3 at home against the Jaguars. No Trevor Lawrence. Another, it's crazy this year what's happened. How many, I think it was 9 or 10 backup quarterbacks are starting this week. It's insane the injuries that have happened this year. But if I have to pick a side here, give me the Browns. I mean, their defense, night and day better than Jacksonville. Jacksonville's defense all year long has been a bit of a problem, and it's still a problem. And now if you're Jacksonville, you no longer have Trevor Lawrence to fall back on. Now you're stuck with C.J. Beathard. I don't like that at all. On the Browns flip side, listen, Joe Flacco may be old, and he may, beside that one great run with Baltimore, he's never had a great career. I trust Joe Flacco to win this game a lot more than I do C.J. Beathard with the defense, with the offense that he has. I like the Browns -3 at home too. This game just screams Browns to me, and it's so stupid because you shouldn't bet on this game. Joe Flacco versus C.J. Beathard is not a game you should be putting your money on, but God damn it, I'm going to put my money on it. Give me the Browns -3.
And the Browns also kind of in that playoff hunt, right? It matters to them too. I laugh because it is a crazy pick, but it kind of shows where we're at with spreads this week, right? I'm taking arguably a ridiculously risky one. You're betting on you're betting in a game in which they have AFL players or XFL players starting at quarterback or old veterans start. It's crazy. I almost want to say half my body's I kind of like it because that Browns defense is legit, right? They are. It's what's kept them pretty much this entire season.
Although last week they got lit up a little bit. They got lit up by the Rams, but the Rams also, this is the healthiest they've been all season. So you got Matt Stafford healthy with his full arsenal of weapons with Kyron Williams and Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and all those guys. It's any defense I think would have a hard time with that.
Yeah, that's true. And they have had to be fair, they've had a few I guess just issue games, right?
Yeah.
But as it gets later on in the year and they're kind of playing a team that I don't envision this offense totally, functioning like they held Tennessee to 14 points. That could be the exact same type of offense that we see out of Jacksonville, right? So, yeah, I don't hate it. It's just what a crazy game to bet on. Browns, Jacksonville, both on their a millionth quarterback. It's crazy.
Well, I think the thing with the Jaguars too is their offense has not been good all year either. Their offense has been very considering what they have in Trevor Lawrence and ETN and Calvin, all these weapons, their offense should be really good. It hasn't been. So that's with Trevor Lawrence. Now imagine it with C.J. Beathard. Now you're downgrading the quarterback too. Without Trevor Lawrence, what do the Jaguars really have? You know what I mean? Their offensive line's not really great. Their defense, it's fine, but it's not great. You know what I mean? And their biggest draw was that they had Trevor Lawrence at quarterback and some of the weapons they have. But now you take Trevor Lawrence away.
Christian Kirk's hurt too. He's out. That's the guy that's getting tons of targets. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're just taking away the only good things that has been going for this team this year, and I just don't. And this Cleveland team fights hard. They have heart. This defense fights every week, and I think Joe Flacco, to be honest, he's been here, right? This is the kind of game that Flacco has won in his career. It's the reason why people joke, is he an elite quarterback? Because as much as you want to make fun of the guy, these are the kind of games where he does kind of show up for. It's what made him a Super Bowl champion with Baltimore. I know that was a decade ago, but still, I watched
true,
that
though.
game.
He is.
Joe Flacco was moving the ball downfield. I mean, he was making some good throws against the Rams.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I mean, I definitely don't hate it. I think that, like I said, it's just the only gripe would be that's a crazy game to bet on, which we've done crazier on the show, right? But literally, if you added up the strings of quarterbacks we're on for these two teams, it's 5-4, you know what I mean? So it's crazy, but nonetheless, that does bring us to the fade me round here, Tasos. I'm feeling wonky about almost not all of our picks, but we've had this is a weird NFL slate this week. I don't know if I want to say one of the weirdest we've seen, this year, but definitely one of the ones nothing's really jumping out at me. So I don't know if you feel the same. So I almost want you to fade me here to kind of put the ball in your court. But I do have a pick that I like. So if it lands on me, I'm chilling. But yeah, what are your thoughts on getting fade me this week?
Honestly, I want you to get it because the fade me when you have gotten it has just been so kind to me. But I'm
yeah, it's true.
Just to piggyback on your point, of all 3 of my games that I picked, the best quarterback across those games is what, Brock Purdy maybe? Like it's Jake Browning, Gardner Minshew, Joe Flacco.
Oh my,
Beathard, like Geno Smith, who hasn't been great this year. Like, yeah, it's
that's crazy. Yeah,
I'm putting my money on a lot of guys who I would never. If you told me in the beginning of the year that there's a week where you're gonna have big money on Jake Browning versus Gardner Minshew and CJ Beathard versus Joe Flacco, I would have told you you're dumb. But here we are. Here we are. Yeah, I hope you get it. God forbid you get it. You know.
Oh, okay. You're trying that. All right. Guys, the way Fade Me works, we're going to spin the wheel just like we did at the beginning of the show, and whoever this lands on gets to make a pick. The other person has to take the exact opposite, so we're guaranteed a win or loss in this column. Before we do get to it, if you guys made it to this point in the video, comment Fade Me down in the comments. Let us know that you're rocking with us this long. We also didn't even talk about it, Tasos. Hit 40K subscribers.
Yep.
Thank you guys so damn much. On to 50. We're racing towards you guys are absolutely the best, whether you're supporting, play action takes or H2H or our daily picks that we throw out on the channel. Appreciate the hell out of you guys. But all right, enough sappy stuff aside. Let's spin this wheel, Tasos. God forbid I get it, right? God forbid I get it.
God forbid you get it. God forbid you get it. Oh, no.
All right. Like I said, I don't mind it. I do have a pick that I'll say that I like. Again, I feel like I've said like a bunch here, not love, which makes it tough. I'm going to look at a guy. It's a player prop, Thursday Night Football player prop, which is kind of interesting, I would say. I'm going to look at a guy that just recently came back from injury. I'm looking at Pat Freiermuth, over 2.5 receptions, minus 166. That means you get plus 133 if he does not have 3 receptions here. But this is a guy that has been getting targets since coming back. He had 11 targets in his return, or in his second, I guess you could say, game back from injury, and then he had 5 targets last week. Quarterback situation for the Steelers, I'm not thrilled with. I'm not really happy about that, but I think we can both admit this Patriots defense is good. They've had a crazy low combined score recently, but 3 receptions to a big body like Freiermuth, I don't really see how they prevent that. We have seen some tight end success against the Patriots this year. Not in the entire year, but definitely at points during the season. So, 3 catches doesn't seem like it's all that much for me, for him in this spot.
The only comment I have here is, are you okay? Like, you're putting your fade me pick on Steelers Patriots?
Yeah.
Like, out of all the games to pick from, I would not touch anything on this.
Pat Freiermuth.
On a prop play on the Steelers tight end on Thursday night when Mitch Trubisky's in at quarterback against the Patriots. Listen, hats off to you for going for it. I don't know. I mean, on paper, 3 catches isn't that much, but there's such a wonky game. I just don't know.
That is fair.
Know.
That's fair,
this is a wonky game. I don't know what else to say. I'm stumped that you took this pick, honestly.
So what's kind of funny, and this is crazy to say, Mitch Trubisky as a backup may be better than some of these. It's I wouldn't even say it's a definite, but as a name, as an experienced guy, maybe better than some of even the guys that we looked at in this overall. And I think that is sort of that big tight end we often see is kind of like a safety go-to for guys that aren't fully well wrapped up into the offense. And I think this Patriots defense, the one priority is going to be like, all right, don't let these huge plays, because they're not going to want to give up big chunk plays to a bad, and I will say the Steelers offense is pretty bad. Yeah. So they're going to be concerned with Pickens and Deontay Johnson, just due to the fact that it's like, if we at least limit those guys, like how the Steelers going to move the ball, I think they kind of forget about, I don't want to say forget about, but I think that Freiermuth is not really in the let's stop that guy plans. So I like this spot. I was this close. I'm not doing it. This close to doubling down on it, but I just can't jinx that much. it also that's where when you said this is a crazy game to do the fade me on, that's where like my intelligence was like, all right, let's pump the brakes here with this fade me. All right, you don't need to double down on the Patriots game. But yeah, that's what it is. So you have decent odds here, but plus 133. He's done this, by the way, in 4 of his last 5.
Oh, yeah.
And I like the target share as well.
Wasn't it 2 weeks ago that he had like 11 catches?
Yeah, he had 9 catches on 11 targets. He went off against Cincinnati. But, the Patriots, I guess you could say, is a little bit better of a defense. But again, like, I think this Patriots defense looks good. And neither one of us really have much good to say about the Patriots, being Patriots fans. But I think this defense looks good because their games are so ugly. You know what I mean? Neither team gets off to the races. So you look at yards against or points against. The Patriots look pretty good, but they lose their 2 best defensive guys. Like, this is not really a good team at all. Give me the safety blanket, Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah, the only thing I'm actually curious. I don't have the numbers in front of me because I was never expecting a pick like this out of you. I've watched every Patriots game. I don't think tight ends have had a lot of success against us this year. I think it's the one area.
No, they've had a couple spots, but that's, again, it kind of goes back to, I think that this is going to be a game in which this is the check down guy. Okay, actually, I'm not saying that the Patriots are terrible, but
Gerald Everett had 4 catches this past week. So Chargers tight end. So I mean,
no, I think the Patriots allow plenty of. I was looking at it earlier. Shout out to Outlier. I was looking at it. They allow plenty of receptions, not specifically to the tight end though. So it's like you wanna get positional. Then I think that I think we have an argument against. But this is not a good Patriots secondary, no matter what. It's not a good Patriots anything.
No, if this was yards, I think it would be absolutely batshit crazy. I think catches actually, you might kind of be onto something.
Yeah, his yards is set at 27.5, and it's like, I don't even know if he might have to do that in one catch if he wants to get that, because I think that I could literally see him having 3 5-yard catches, and maybe that's it,
For sure.
So, but that is what we have for you guys. Tasos, I gave you another plus money chance at Fade Meter. I mean, I'm stupid at this point, but this is at least a different type. I'm not taking a heavy favorite because the fact that we, like, back in the beginning of the season talked about fade me strategy and yada yada yada, back-to-back weeks I took heavy favorites in fade me, assuming that is kind of the, like, well, you at least secure a loss on the other side of things, and they lose and you have huge plus money hits. So it's been a weird season, but you have been, like you said, one of the hottest sports gamblers out there. Maybe it slows down here, and Pat Freiermuth shoves it this week. All right.
I mean, considering the players that I'm betting on this week, it's possible. It's possible. A lot of bad matchups.
But like it's saying that we're gonna both lose all of ours, and it's not even possible to fade me. But it's like, what are we doing with this week 14?
I'm surprised you didn't want to go Giants here. You didn't want to go Giants plus 6.5 or Giants money line or.
No, that didn't stumble into my arms here. I don't think that betting against the Packers ever again in my entire life. I just can't do it. Whatever that owners only meeting you had with them just absolutely lit a fire under that. So if people don't know, Tasos is the reason that the Packers
we had an owner to player meeting, and it just snapped. Jordan Love. I said on this show like 3 weeks ago, I'm like, get rid of him. It's time to move on. Now he looks like Aaron Rodgers. Like I lit a fire under him, and now he's playing well. So credit to me. All the people in Wisconsin, credit to me.
Yeah, shout out to Tasos. But anything else before we close up for the day?
No, just guys, thank you again so much for the 40K, and I'm hoping the goal, we talked about it privately. Our goal is, I think it's realistic, 45K by New Year's. Like, I think that's pretty. Yeah,
that'd be great.
Pretty realistic. We're already at 40,500. Like, it's, we're growing fast. I could see it, but and then I guess the only thing too is, like, guys, holiday season's coming around. You only got to cut maybe a week left to get your orders in before Christmas. Make sure they get in time. So Fade Me, we got the Miami Vice. All the Miami Vice gear's out. All the Christmas stuff is out. Go check it out in the link in the description below. We got a bunch of cool stuff on the site. And what's the cutoff? I think you said December 10th is like probably the last. Yeah,
December 10th. I'd say if anyone's interested, do it even sooner. The sooner the better. With obviously like the holiday spikes and whatnot, and obviously the orders in flux with holiday season. So the 10th, I would say. A little over 2 weeks to get that in by Christmas, but you don't want to wait. There's no guarantees. We can't control it once it's, being shipped. So get your orders in as soon as you can. Definitely.
But yeah,
we got a
that's
lot
all
of
I
cool
got.
stuff over there too. But all right, guys, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Hopefully Tasos doesn't sweep. You know what I mean? Like, it's good for
God
him,
forbid.
good for the show, but
God
damn.
forbid.
No, hopefully I have a terrible week. You know, God forbid I have a terrible week. But we'll catch you guys in the next one. All right.